long-haired, bald hippie he ever saw on a soccer pitch. Bob Sayer has also coached for 23 years. As he puts it, his team lost many games, but they won a few too. His New Ross Senior Boys won a Nova Scotia High School Championship in '74. In 1983, Bayshore Under-16 Boys, he coached to both provincial and Atlantic championships. He also successfully coached a number of women's teams. His Lunenburg Lasers won the Metro Women's League from '79 through '85. Those teams went on to provincial and Atlantic championships in '79, '82, '84, and 1985. And the 1980 version of the Lasers were voted Nova Scotia Team of the Year. The 1985 Lasers won bronze medals in the National Club Championships. They were the first Nova Scotia team in history to beat the Quebec and Ontario champions in national soccer playoffs. In 1980, he also was co-coach of the Lunenburg senior girls team, which won the provincial high school championship. But as is the case with so many of these sport builders in Nova Scotia to whom we owe so much, Sayer seems to have accomplished more than is humanly possible, considering that this was all done in addition to his full-time job as a major administrator in the Lunenburg school system. He's done much at home. From '77 to '79, he's president of the South Shore Senior Soccer League. He was brought back to perform the same function in the mid-'80s to help revitalize the league. Revitalize them he did, as in 1990, their 13 teams allowed them to boast of being the largest regional league in the province. In '82, he chaired the organizing committee when Lunenburg hosted the first ever Eastern Canadian Championships. He turned around and did the same thing for the national championships the following year. He was founding president of Lunenburg District's Youth Soccer Association and continued in the position from '75 until '81. Since 1988, he's chaired the Lunenburg District Tri-County Soccer League. Bob Sayer's been busy at the provincial level as well. He was a member of Soccer Nova Scotia's board of directors from '75 to '85. From '79 to '81, he was president of the Youth Association of Soccer Nova Scotia. He was founding chair of the recent Nova Professional Soccer Society, which brought the Clippers to the province. And he was president of Soccer Nova Scotia itself from 1981 to 1984. At the national level, he's credited with writing the brief which resulted in women's soccer being included in the Canada Games. He's been a director of the Canadian Youth Soccer Association, the Atlantic rep on the Canadian Youth Soccer Association. He's also been a member of the organizing committee for the 1987 World Under-17 Cup. Since 1986, Bob's been vice president of the Canadian Soccer Association. His more onerous duties include the many times he's had to travel to exotic lands, bearing all sorts of hardship to further Canada's soccer cause. He was head of delegation for the Canadian team going to the World Youth Cup in Chile. The CSA sent him in 1985 to the Middle East and North Africa as part of a delegation sent to set up a tour for Canada's national team. A tour which took them to Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, and Bahrain. The group was obviously asked to sort out the establishments which should be labeled as off limits for Canada's athletes. Lest you think he's not cultured, on another of these trips to Mexico in 1986, he and the executive director of the Canada Soccer Association, Kevin Pipe, were invited to a Leon concert, a most respected Mexican folk dance, in which, to a cacophony of blaring horns, the performers stomped around for 2 hours. Actually, they stomped around for longer than that, but our Canadian delegation of Pipe and Sayer, a bit thirsty but ever mindful of avoiding an international incident, got down on all fours and crawled out of the room so they could go to some dive and get a beer. According to Pipe, and I quote, "There's more culture in pearls than there is in Sayer." Bob Sayers received some credit from those he has served over the years. He's received the Soccer Nova Scotia Award of Merit for outstanding service to senior soccer, the Sport Nova Scotia Service Award for outstanding volunteer efforts on behalf of amateur sport, the Soccer Nova Scotia Special Award for appreciation of long-standing commitment, dedication, and service to the development of soccer in Nova Scotia, the Canada Soccer Association's Award for distinguished service to youth soccer in Canada. He was named Youth Coach of the Year in 1980 by Soccer Nova Scotia. During the quarter of a century that Bob Sayer has been dedicating his efforts, soccer in the province went from hundreds of registered participants to thousands. Bob will be the first to credit the myriad of volunteers who've worked toward this end for this big jump. But keep in mind that the thousands of hours he put in certainly hasn't hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, a builder par excellence, Robert Sayer.
I would ask Burton Russell, the outgoing chairman of the selection committee for the Valley region, to come forward to make the presentation. And as Burton makes his way up, I have a couple of telegrams, Bob, that I would like to share with our audience tonight. It was with great delight that I read of your nomination to the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame. You are certainly a worthy recipient, and this is an appropriate reward for the many hours, indeed days, you have given to the sport of soccer. I'm sorry I can't be there, but I do congratulate you and wish you every success in the future. Sincerely, Moira Ducharme, Mayor of Halifax. And also, this message: very few people have done as much for soccer in this province as Bob Sayer. His enthusiasm and his dedication have been a major factor in the growth of this great game, particularly in the metropolitan area. Both Margaret and I wish to send him congratulations on this very special evening. Unfortunately, I am out of town, unable to be present at your night. However, it gives me great pleasure to record, both personal pleasure and on behalf of the many children who play soccer, our gratitude for the dedication that this man has shown to the growth of soccer in Nova Scotia. And that is signed by John Savage, leader of the Liberal Party of Nova Scotia. And on behalf of the 340,000 registered members of the Canadian Soccer Association, we congratulate Bob Sayer on his induction into the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame. A true sportsman, I can think of no other person as worthy of induction as Bob. His contributions to the development of soccer, both in Nova Scotia and across Canada, are remarkable, and for this he deserves much credit. A true builder in our sport. We are glad he found his place in soccer, in administration. He had to. He was a terrible player and an even worse coach. All the very best, Bob. My thoughts are with you, Trish, your family and friends, on this very special occasion. And that is from your traveling companion in the exotic Caribbean, Kevin Pipe. Bob. Robert, congratulations. Thank you. Richly earned. You know, it's not all that many years since you arrived on our shores here in Nova Scotia, but the growth of your game has been phenomenal and due in no large measure to the efforts that you have put into it.
It's been unbelievable. I started off as a lock porter, and there was another lock porter in the Hall of Fame, and Marjorie Turner, as I knew her then. I should tell you a story. Am I allowed to tell you a story about Marjorie?
Yes.
Lou Fraser was the principal at Lockport when I arrived as a young social studies teacher with 3 kids and my wife, of course. And I had told him I was a soccer coach. He said, well, I'd like you to coach both teams in Lockport. I said, you have 2 boys teams? He said, no, both senior teams. You have an A and a B boys team? He said, no, the girls team. And that first introduced me to girls soccer. And then he told me the story about Marjorie. Marjorie was an international sprinter, had gone to the Pan Am and the Commonwealth and Olympics, and she was interviewed on CBC radio and was asked, Marjorie, what is your favorite sport? And everybody, of course, expected her to say track and field, and she turned around and said, soccer, of course. And Marjorie led the Lockport girls, I think, to 3 consecutive soccer championships. In those days, soccer was, I guess, associated with people like me who had European accent. We were either English immigrants or Greek immigrants or Italian immigrants. And now it's the Canadian game. Every junior high school, every senior high school, every college, every university has male and female soccer teams. I can remember, Tom is here tonight, in the early 70s, we met at Tom Spink's house in Dartmouth, and our target was to have 500 registered players in Nova Scotia. And now, of course, it's youth. Now, of course, we're at 12,000. It's been unbelievable to be a part of it.
Indeed, and I know you played a very major role in the introduction of pro soccer in the province. I know you were as saddened as everybody at the demise of the pro game after one season, but apparently the pro game is in trouble nationally because the CSL is now in very big difficulty. Do you foresee a day in the future that pro soccer will come back? Yeah, you're all right.
Without a doubt. If you don't take risks in life, you don't achieve anything. If you don't take risks in sport, you don't achieve anything. We all knew that the Clippers was a risk. We all knew that it was worth trying, and we'd learn lessons from it. What I do see happening is a North American Soccer League again, with Vancouver leading other Canadian teams in, and I see regional leagues, semi-pro professional soccer. It won't be the end, and there will be semi-pro or pro soccer in Nova Scotia again. You have to experiment. Experiments by nature, some of them will fail, but you learn by experiments, and in the end you succeed.
Thank you, Bob. Our congratulations once again. Bob Sayer.